current crisis. They are severe and they are growing rapidly worse. More than 30 million people are now unemployed in the United States, which is nearly 20% of the US workforce. There are estimates that up to 47 million people could be unemployed by the time the dust settles, giving a 32% unemployment rate. And that's just the United States. As a quick reminder too, the Great Depression, that was a 25% unemployment rate. Gives you some perspective on the current crisis. And of course, it goes far beyond the USA. The United Nations is now estimating that up to half the world's workforce could be affected by this crisis. So of the total global working population of 3.3 billion people, about 2 billion people work in the informal economy. Often those are short-term contract jobs or simply people who are self-employed, selling things in the street or whatever it might be. These people, on average, have suffered a 60% collapse in their wages in just the first month of the crisis. For millions of workers, no income, it means no food, no security, no future. The World Food Program is predicting that an additional 130 million people around the world could be pushed to the brink of starvation by the end of 2020. And they also state that the world is on the brink of a hunger pandemic. It's the real pandemic, guys. And look, that's just the tip of the iceberg, but I think it sets the tone for the conversation about the damage that is being done right now to the global economy. You see, while this global economic meltdown continues, there is this little orange coin called Bitcoin that has once again claimed the title of the best asset of the year. Now let's take a quick look at some key markets here just to understand what I mean when I'm talking about this. So the Dow Jones, it is down by 20% so far this year. The S&P 500 is down 15%. This is trillions of dollars the value here we're talking. The price of oil is down 58%. And some individual companies, they have seen drops of like 80%. It's wild. Gold, however, is up nearly 12%. And then there is Bitcoin. Oh, Bitcoin. Not only has it recovered from the massive losses of March, but it's actually up a nice cool 25% since the start of this year. You see, this tells us a few very, very interesting things. One is that, yes, of course, the equity markets are getting hammered beyond belief. And in spite of the bounce that we have seen in those markets, I strongly doubt that the pain is over for the equity markets. I mean, seriously, just stop to think about this for a second. Do you honestly think that hundreds of millions of people to billions of people being unemployed globally, 1.5 billion people losing just everything potentially, complete supply chain meltdown, and 130 million people potentially being in starvation this year? You think that's completely priced into the market yet? I don't. I think things could get way worse for the equity markets. And the other thing that we can learn from looking at these charts is that during these times of uncertainty, investors want a way out. They want a way to protect their wealth. They want gold, they want Bitcoin, they want cash. Gold is gold. It's not the topic of this video. Cash, that's a tricky one. See, short-term cash is okay, but long-term, oh, what a frickin' mess. Fiat is just, blah. The only thing that has kept the equity markets from an even bigger collapse, though, has been this unlimited fountain of money promised by central banks. Spending so far is around $20 trillion. It's hard to keep track of it. They keep adding another trillion here, 100 billion there, 200 billion there. It's wild. This is a combination of factors that they're doing here. So it's new money printing. It's providing insane amounts of liquidity to Wall Street. It's taking on new debt. It's buying up junk bonds. Infinite bailouts for every industry. Part of it is because people are realizing what Bitcoin is, that it is and has always been a hedge against the insanity of fiat. Sure, Bitcoin doesn't have the multi-thousand-year history of gold backing it up, but more and more people are waking up to the absolute depravities of the central banking system. Trust in that system, it is eroding quickly. The ghosts of 2008, they've come back to haunt us once again. And when looking at the current situation, if you look at all this and think, wow, this is all cool and normal, you're crazy. You're crazy. Trillions of new money, everything too big to fail, biggest corporate bailouts in history. Madmen are in charge of the economy. And it won't end well. It won't end well for any of these fiat currencies. I mean, seriously, how many times do we need to see people standing in lines waiting for a little scrap from their bank to realize that no fiat currency is safe? It's happened in Zimbabwe, it's happened in Lebanon, it's happened in Argentina, it's happened in places all over the world. Your fiat is not safe. This crisis should be a wake-up call to people. Fiat is one giant gosh darn scam. Infinite money will be printed to save corporate profits, to save the stock markets, to bail out banks. Consequences be damned, and there are consequences. Of course, very little of that money actually goes to help regular people. The more the banks print, the less your dollars are worth, until you find yourself one day with a garbage bag stuffed full of paper trying to buy a loaf of bread. It has happened before to nice, well-meaning people all over the world, and it will happen again. But this coin is going. Bitcoin is a unique asset with fundamental properties that make it just the tip of the spear of a whole new digital economy that is being created without these disgusting middlemen. While gold was the hard money of the physical economy, Bitcoin is the gold of the digital economy. The fact that Bitcoin is up 25% since the start of the year while all the equity markets are down shows you a lot. Sure, those markets are getting crushed, but Bitcoin is just soaring above all of it, even if the correlation does remain high. Look, even a few percent of your portfolio put into Bitcoin, it can be game-changing for you. The real risk is not having any Bitcoin. Not many understand this yet, but you do.